Hi everybody, how are you? I hope you have a nice start of the week, if you had a weekend, and welcome in this 34th episode of Juno Live. Today we continue converting our serverless function for our icp-to-cycle swap from Rust to TypeScript, but before doing that I was thinking that we can set up or refine the setup for the new local development environment, because I don't know if you saw that I published it yesterday. I actually finished converting all that migration I did from having like an environment where you have a predefined satellites to an environment where you have like really like a production like setup. So I shared a bit the why and this kind of things yesterday in a blog post, and I also published the CLI, the plugins, the Docker image, and so on, and also totally reworked the section about the local development here on the website with a bit what you get in which image and what you don't get. Added few tweaks, a bit of screenshots, and I also added a new reference page where if you go to emulator you have Skylab, which is the one that contains everything with a bit of configuration. Also you find where to find the console, and you also got the satellites one, which is like the one we knew, right? Ultimately I hope to merge the configuration in both and a bit of infrastructure here. So yeah, a bit of doc, but let's apply it. So if I should not have closed that was a mistake. This one I can close. So here is just our it's our wallet. We're gonna need it, but just gonna keep it open. So here I start the local emulator, and here I start the front end. All right. So as I said before, we were connecting automatically to a satellite that was automatically deployed, and that was that ID here. But now we want to be able to use to have the same flow as in production. So what we do is we go to the console, I sign in, right, and let's say we're gonna create a new satellite. We're gonna start from scratch. So let's call it demo Juno live Skylab, and you see now here there is a new step, and that's just for local dev. When you do that locally, it will automatically add a controller for that satellite for your emulator, and that cannot happen in production. That would not work anyway, and I also wrote some tests so that it never happened in production. But doing so, our emulator now will be able to do the upgrade, for example, of our code, because if we want to use serverless function, we also want to upgrade. And if you go to setup, you see here it created that controller and give a profile. By the way, if that's not documented, but just so that you know, you can actually query the admin server that is spin in the container to see what are the identities that the emulator is using. So there is one for the ledger, or the minter for the ledger, and that's the one that is used within the container to orchestrate all those satellites and modules and so on. Right. So at that point, we have a satellite. Now we need to tell our local environment that we want to work with that satellite. So what I'm gonna do is I will start that because I'm gonna change the configuration, and in cycle.watch first I'll start by converting this one to TypeScript, because why not. And here what I will do is I will add these satellites as development, right? So that way we know that when you work locally with npm run dev, that's the one that we want to use. And I will remove this configuration, because now that we don't use the auto-deployed satellites, we have to do that manually in the console. And last but not least, in the Docker compose, actually we're not gonna use for our container that dev file, but we're just gonna switch to the production one. All right, I think we are good. Let me just check. I prepared that earlier today to be sure. I think that should do. Let me do ls to be sure. There is no Juno word config whatsoever. So let's start the emulator, and I start watch so that we have like the live reload for our serverless function that we are about to write. And likewise, I will restart the front end to be sure that we got the local environment right. Okay, so here we are here, and if I sign in now, I think I will have an error because I don't have created the collection in the data store yet, if it connects to the right satellites. Oh, wait, let's start with a fresh browser cache. Yes, you see, it tells that those collection does not exist yet in this satellite. So we can go on and we will define all those collection. Right here, let's go there to the data store, and what do we need? We want bookkeeping, which is solely accessible by controllers. We want this one that is managed, this one that is also managed, and sorry, this one and this one too. Right. In the future, I want to have all those definitions also in the config file. That way we can basically repeat the deployment of those satellites. It can be even handy if you have like multiple projects, right? And let's observe canister. So that's my controller, and I will change to this one, which I will rename to observed. This way we know next week which one is it. And here I will add the controller. So that's particular to our test, right? And all right. And you see we have that that setup. So well, yeah, cool. All right, and now just to be sure that our serverless function also hit the right satellites, what we can do is here I will add a console log. Our satellite ID, and here what I call ID. That's a function that is exposed by the Juno function icc-to-cycles and to text. All right, and if everything works well, this one should notice that there is a new version, like with a debounce of 10 seconds. Hoopla. Maybe I should go to 5 seconds, but yeah, I'm not sure. And then it upgrades, and because the emulator is already a controller, that should go through without issue, I hope. Yes, you see. So now if we do the test, oh, I inverted the port. Yeah, I'm really stupid. So I will. So this one is 5, and this one now is 51 septembre 4. What is that? So we have no blah 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 here. So we want, what do we want? We want 4, right? 4. So 5, and somewhere I should have this, I guess. This, right? And we want to go to 4. Okay. So again, I sign in the wallet. Okay, so I can close that. Do it again. Right. We'll get some ICP. And here, I should really implement like a refresh or something. But yeah. Hopla. And here we do a request. So if we go to our, again, yeah, you see here B2 US, and if we go here, it's B2 US, and if we reload here, assuming it's able to load the version, or it doesn't, Okay, maybe I've got a small bug there. Yeah, maybe I got a small bug, but you see now I have the version here, so 0010 is probably the version I have here, you see, and those are the dependencies. So that's new, like every module deployed on that will be part of the next release, but every module deployed on Juno now gets like a kind of like a small package JSON attached as public data with really few information that describes what are the version and what are the dependencies. And that's handy because then in the console or in the CLI it's possible to define what features is available or not. But we can also imagine that in the future, for example, instead of having Juno build satellites, we have a Juno build core. And if you just have core, you don't have data store and storage and function. Oh, yeah. So basically that you have just a canister management app that would be possible to handle any canister. Or maybe someone does a particular feature, I don't know, like someone want to add like a SQL database to a let's call it template. So in that case you will have Juno build slash satellite Juno build slash blah 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 as a dependency, which is kind of nice. And yeah, no, I forgot the other things I wanted to tell, but yeah, basically it's what I did. Yeah, right. So here you see we have version 10 because it takes the app by default, but let me show you something. What you can do is, if I remember correctly, here you can add a Juno special tag, I think, function, and here I can specify, let's say, demo, whatever. So of course I need to compile and it needs to notice that there is a change, but if that's correct, I think it will use, like when it builds, it will find that version and use it to pass it to the builder, and then you get like your specific version for your function. So you can specify something. You can also have your package JSON directly in your satellites folder if you prefer, I think. And I remember that's something I should document. To explain how to define a custom dev version when building a serverless function in Rust or JavaScript. But yeah, by the way, in Rust it's just the version in cargo toml. Alright, so let me refresh here. It's a bit slow, that's really weird, but yeah, I guess it is what it is. Or again, I got a bug, that's also possible. Maybe I got a bug, that's possible. I will review that, I guess. And yeah, so it's still not released, so something I need to do. And beside that, yeah, one thing to note is because of this, the where I have that the field build version and version won't be needed anymore in the satellite, so we can remove those. So we're not gonna rush, but yeah, like my Wi-Fi is terrible here. Yeah, anyway, so yeah, this is the way, I guess. All right, so I guess we are fine with that. And that's just the port and stuff. And what I gonna do is let's continue here. So where were we? Last week we added this assert wallet balance so that when a query is made, it checks what balance it is. So if we now have a look to what we are rewriting, so we had assert wallet balance. So now the next step is to transfer from wallet to the satellite. So let's do that. Here I'm gonna remove this. Right. Okay, so what do we need? We need the to account. Oh, that's gonna be again some from account. Here we have that, but we're gonna check. So we have a transfer ICP from wallet. So that's a function. What it is? It's the function that yeah, because we had the approve, so now we need to do the transfer from. So let's implement that transfer from. So in ledger ICRC we have ICRC balance off, right? So now we want to make ICRC transfer from. So export const ICRC transfer from, and what it takes, the ledger ID, yes, and the from account. Okay, so and it returns, we're gonna check that later. All right, so ledger from account, so we know that. Let's start easy. All right, so except that this one is called from account, and we have to account and the amount. So to account and the amount, do we have that here? Yes, the amount is a big int. Okay, and we have also the fee. Did we pass the fee here? Yes, we did. Likewise. All right. Okay. Great. So we're gonna need the transform arguments. So like we discussed last week, we need those types that are not exposed by Candid, which is annoying, but that's what it needs right now. So I go to Juno.js. No, I go to ICJS. And I go to the ICRC ledger. And we go into those types here. So we want to do a transfer from this one. This means that we need transfer from arg and transfer from result. So transfer from arg. And ICRC, right? Yeah. Ah, but it's because I took the types, I guess, from the ledger ICRP that has also those. That's why I got sub account with a capital A and not a lower one. ICRC transfer from. No, same. Yeah. All right. What change here? Ah, here it's called ICRC tokens. Blah. All right. And we need timestamp, which is this one. All right. Okay. So not too bad. And what I say, we need also the result to decode the result. So we add the result here. So the result will be either a block index or the error. Oh, I love to copy so much code. That's so sustainable. Anyway, so we are good here, I guess. All right. So this means that we can actually implement the call. Okay. We call the ledger, right? And we call the method icrc-to-transfer-from, right? And as argument, we need to pass those transform args, so here. So that means that we need to build those, right? So we need also the interface here. And do I want to re-implement the wheel? The good question. Let's no, it's not exposed. Oh, sorry, I'm just thinking if I want to copy the types or if I want to install the library and then kind of fake it. But yeah, at this point, just maybe let's just copy. So here in ledger SR2 we have transfer from. Yeah, but it's really annoying. Let's try like that. Alright, and here then what we do is, I call it args, I guess. Yes, const args. And here, oh, I like that. Alright, so here we're gonna import from but not the types. We go in dist / candid / ledger here. Okay, and what does it say? Types, and then here I use this one like that. All right. And so on here we can define the type. So finally, amount what do we have? Amount from. So from is the from account. Does it? Super. Then we have the to, which is the to account. Not too bad. Then we have the created time, which I had set to empty. The fee, we gonna, what does it expect? It expect a fee like this. So here we're gonna use our utility to convert null to those array things. So here fee, and since I already have it, then we can do like that to have empty. Memo, I think we do nothing as well, and spender account we also did, spender sub account, sorry. All right, and so here we have that, and then the result will be this, but we saw that the result type is transform result, yes. So here transform for now. So we do the same. Tac. So here we do promise. There. All right, and that should convert, I guess, I hope, our transfer from that we had in Rust. So since we have it here, now we can write the services, because why did we do that? We did a service because we mapped the error. Interesting. But do we need that here? I'm not sure. Because it will throw an error anyway, so yeah, I mean, we can do it just to keep the same patterns, but yeah, I mean, yes, let's do that. So, and it was called transfer ICP from wallet. So transfer ICP from wallet like that, and here we're gonna do return await like this, right? We can, all right, let's do that. All right, and then we return the, that was void. Nice. Okay, so let's do that then. Okay, and then it means that in the main stuff here we can do the call. So we need all the stuff. Tac. I guess ledger from account, request amount. Yeah. Oopla, sorry. Request amount, fee, and we also need the to account, and then we should be good. Maybe not. So how do we do an account like this? So like that, like this, to account, and to account is, where are we? We want to transfer to ourselves. Okay, So the ID is the satellites principal, and this one gives the principal. But not too bad. Right. And did we add a check somewhere that okay, that's interesting. So maybe let's implement also that check to see if the balance is transferred. So we're gonna call the balance, but for the two account, aka the balance of the satellites, right? And I think that here also did that. All right. Okay. So maybe just for a first test, I'm just gonna put that here. And before, and we print the balance before, right? Before balance. Yes, just as a test. All right. So, yeah, should just wait that it picks the next build. All right. Yeah, you see, it was super slow, but it's here with our demo version here. Nice. Really weird why it took so long, right? And plus here it's not written demo anymore. Really weird. So we good here, so let's try again. All right. So what does it do? So before balance was 0, then we did the transfer from, it succeeded, and now the balance of the satellite is this one. Of course, we don't see it in this one. Really interesting. And yeah, you see we have the cycles and so on, but we don't have like the value in ICP. Alright, but it worked out. If we do it one more time, like the dapp. So 0.1 ICP. Yeah, we had we have 0.15 and now we have 0.25. So it works well. Cool. So remove this and I will. What do I commit? So is there a change here? Ah, it's ledger ICRC. Okay. So here I will just doesn't matter. So build ledger ICRC depths and what is it called? Function version. And here then we commit our transfer from. All right. Feed icrc2 approve. No, transfer from. Please. All right. So not too bad, right? Then what happened? So we had transfer from. Ah, yeah. All right. So let's do this one. So we want to keep an eternal track of the transferred ICP, like having a bookkeeping if something goes wrong, so that we can track and know if something happened. Oh, I just forgot to show you something really cool. Since now, I will go back to the things, but since now that the local development use the satellites that we have here, the cool stuff is now, right, we define our data here, so here we can see what we have done today. You see, like here, that's one of the last one, but we can also go to the function and see all those printout that we do. Yeah, it works automatically, and it's kind of cool. I don't know. So, in my opinion, right? So, yeah, nice. All right, so let's do this one. This one is an easy one. You want to keep track, so that's easy. Save ICP. We put that in a bookkeeping service. I don't know why I had to go. Yeah, let's use the same structure. And here we have export const this tag. What do we get? Key. And that's a promise void too. And here we're gonna call it save ICP transferred. And all right, we want to define our data, but actually because we are using TypeScript, I guess we already have. We don't have that type. Come on. No, we don't have it. Funny. We have the settings, we have the services, and blah blah blah, data store, request data, but we don't have it. But so let's add it. Interface, bookkeeping data, and in bookkeeping we have a status. I'm not gonna use an enum because I'm not a big fan, so I will just use submitted or failed. I'm not a big fan like in JavaScript. So like this. So if I go back here, we create our data. So const. You know, I will copy that will be easier. Hoopla. Alright, so const book data, bookkeeping data, status, transfer from done. Ah, I'm stupid. I copied the wrong type. So we have transfer from done. What's better in enum? Like this? No, in types. Swapped, failed. Okay. So we have transfer from DOM. Alright. Then, because there is that mechanism of encoding or decoding, we should encode our data. So that's gonna be an easy one. Encode doc data, and that's gonna be book data. All right, and then we need to prepare the document to update. So since it's a brand new document, I think, yeah, set doc, which is exposed by the function, right? So here we need data, then that's it, because all those old fields are optional and we don't provide a version because that's the very first one. And finally we're gonna save this in the data store. So key collection bookkeeping, and we want a caller that's gonna be ourselves. That way we act as a manager. And we need the doc. And voila. Voila. So if we go to the index, just gonna pass the key. If we have it somewhere, no? So context, did I use just a string? Okay. All right, so let's redeploy. Maybe not. Right, so bim bam boom. All right, I didn't put a console log, so let's go check in our database. We have a bookkeeping now, and we see that's the first version, transfer from done, and that's that's the ID, right? So I need to add a copy button for the ID. That would be nice. Or put the ID. Yeah, but here. Yeah. Anyway, so if we go in the request, yeah, we have it. But I mean, just to be sure. Yes, that's our request that we just did. Time matches, so it's nice. So yeah, works fine. All right, so bookkeeping, and do we still have a step to do, I guess? Oh, actually 2 steps. Yeah. I think, yeah, let's see. I'm not sure. Maybe I will do that next week, or either I do it or we do it together. But I mean, it's gonna be basically the same. Like, the only difference is that here it's an ICP transfer, not an ICRC. So yeah, maybe we can do that together. But fundamentally speaking, it will be the same stuff. It's like preparing the type and having to do those conversion that is annoying, and that we should definitely solve that on the future. But the rest is just using call, where you pass the target, the method, your list of arguments with tuples, you give the result for decoding, and that's it. Alright, so I guess that's it for today, because I don't want to start doing those two, that's gonna take some time. If you have any question, as always, ping me anytime, and thanks for having joined, and enjoy your day. Bye bye.